Adin Ross sucks. And before you go to type up a little paragraph like, hey, are you bothered by his tweets, Snowflake? It has nothing to do with that. It's actually purely selfish reasons. It's like a primal thing. I feel like we make a lot of excuses as to why somebody might not like another person, and we completely ignore the fact that sometimes you just don't like a person. It's really just that simple. You can't please everybody. You know, I could cure cancer and there'd be somebody the next day like, why didn't you also cure this other disease? That's what my grandma had. Do you not care about my grandma, you piece of shit? And I'd be like, oh, my bad. I didn't realize that I was literally supposed to be curing everything on the planet. But the problem is, most of us are not curing cancer or any types of diseases. We're voicing opinions on things, which makes us even easier to hate. It's like a fact of life that you kind of have to get over. But I don't like when people make excuses, right? I don't like to hear like, oh, you probably don't like Adin because he was offensive on Twitter, or it's the money, it's the fame. No, it has nothing to do with that, baby. It's just strictly primal. It's like if the bombs drop and we have to start fighting each other with sticks and stones, I feel like he's one of the first people I'm going to go for, because it's going to be mad easy to get him to start picking my crops. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen the videos of him like sniffing Andrew Tate's seed. I've seen the very, very absolutely hilarious bits that he does where he's like, look, I'm being gay around a rapper. Look how gay I am. Isn't it kind of funny how gay I am? Now, me personally, like I said, I'm not the kind of person to get offended by any of that. Like, I'm not the kind of person who's going to be politically correct. But let's just say, like, I'm very aware that most of his viewer base is probably like 14 or something, which is whatever. You know, when you're 14, you know, girls are gross for some. So they watch Adin Ross and they talk about how much Doechii sucks and women ruin everything. But if you're over the age of 18 and you're still watching Adin Ross, like, what are you doing? You know, if you can get a job, if you have a job, you're probably not watching Adin Ross. But if you're like 20, 25, God forbid, if you're 30, like, I know you can't color within the lines. There's just no, like, that's been a struggle you've had since you were a kid. You never quite figured it out into adulthood. Whenever you bring out that coloring book and that crayon, it keeps going outside the lines, and you're like, screw this. I'm watching Adin Ross today. The point is, right? There's just, sometimes you can just not like a person, right? But a lot of people have been making videos about Adin Ross and not wanting him to be so relevant in hip hop culture and hip hop media, right? And a lot of these content creators are black. And because of this, you're seeing a lot of people saying like, oh, black people just want to gatekeep. They don't want to allow white people to have opinions on hip hop. And first off, like, you're going to have an opinion no matter what. It's all dependent on whether or not people want to hear you. Some people are not going to want to hear your opinion, or they're going to not care about your opinion. That's just by default what's going to happen. So I swear, some people act like getting met with a differing opinion is being silenced. It's not really being silenced. Being silenced is being removed from everything. But the point is, right, this is a cracker to cracker moment that we're having right here. This is a special mode of communication. It'll sound like a foreign language to anyone that's not a fellow cracker. The big problem is the lack of authenticity, which is crazy that I have to bring this up, because in like 90% of the videos where people are talking about how they don't want Adin Ross around, it's because of the lack of authenticity. They feel like Adin is wave writing, and he would very quickly become a huge country fan if hip hop wasn't as popular next month, or if it had died off. They don't feel like he genuinely has any attachment to the genre other than what it does for his image. He's like academics in a way, which is crazy, because like with Adin Ross, everyone kind of points to the white thing. I don't know what excuse they make for academics, because people kind of say this. They don't say the same thing about academics, because they feel like academics truly does like a lot of different rap and hip hop, but they also feel like he takes advantage of the culture and certain struggles within the culture to his own benefit, and just kind of monetizes it. But even then, like, academics, who I also don't care for, I at least feel like outside of what he does, he listens to rap, and he like genuinely appreciates it, and he still probably will, even if the popularity of it dies down dramatically. Like, I could be wrong, but I just don't get that from Adin Ross, and it's wild. Like, maybe it's an age thing where like if you're younger, you just can't detect inauthenticity. Like, I always felt like I felt the same way about Rice Gum. Like, I found it crazy, and I wasn't even old when Rice Gum was doing shit, but like, when Rice Gum was blowing up in popularity, I remember him making the diss tracks and everything, and I was just kind of like looking around, like, are there people that actually believe that this dude thinks he's hard? Like, he has to know. Like, at the end of the day, he has to look himself in the mirror. 110 pounds soaking wet. Like, has to realize, like, you're not about any of this. You know what I'm saying? And as a kid that, when I was growing up and when I went to school, I would be the only white kid in class. Here's the thing. There are people that may have grown up around something, but they weren't about it. You know what I mean? There are definitely kids like that when I was growing up. They lived in the same neighborhood I did. They saw the drugs being sold. They heard the gunshots. They saw crackheads. Like, they saw all that, but they didn't participate in it. But then there's another subsection of people that are like that. They saw it. They didn't participate in it. But then when they became adults, they tried to pretend like they did. Like, oh, no, man. I caught a body at 12. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You did not do that. You were playing Pokemon and the guy up the street was shot while we were waiting for the bus. Okay? I was there. Like, look, my freshman year of high school, when I was waiting for the bus to pick us up, our bus driver was always late. There was somebody that was shot in a drive-by on the exact corner where we were waiting, which is a crazy thing to do. Like, how are you going to do a drive-by by a school? That's insane. That's disgusting. But no kids were harmed. The guy that was shot on the bike was killed. But one of those same kids that I rode the bus with was like telling people, and I think it was like our junior or senior year, like, oh yeah, I knew him. I can't believe blah blah blah. I won't let anybody forget that. Like, you did not know that guy. Like, but my guy, I know we live in the same neighborhood. Like, I see you outside. Like, bro, we were playing yesterday. We're outside. Like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? You don't know that guy. Why are you lying? That's what Adin Ross is. That's what Adin, and I don't even feel like he like tries to come across that way, but I feel like that because of that underground beef that happened last year with Kendrick and Drake, two artists you probably never heard of. Because a big part of the conversation was authenticity, the fact that like Drake seems so inauthentic in his personal relationships and in his music and how he acts and how he portrays himself. And obviously there's a lot of people that feel that Drake just kind of uses his blackness when it most benefits him, but then just kind of like he uses it as an image thing more than he does like a cultural thing. I can't speak on any of that shit because I'm just a cracker, like I said. But the authenticity was like a core thing. I feel like a lot of people, I know a lot of Drake fans kind of ignore that part of it. And they go, well, why are white people liking things? Why are Spanish people liking things? Not Like Us should only be played for black people. I feel like there's an overall conversation that they're missing the point of. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like I should be a spokesperson in any way because, like I said, I am just a cracker. But authenticity in any genre, it doesn't even have to be hip hop. Authenticity is important. Nothing annoyed me more than when Post Malone randomly decided that he was just like not taking hip hop and R&B seriously. Like when he went on whatever radio station it was, or maybe it was just an interview that I saw an article about. When he released like 2 or 3 albums that were hip hop and R&B with multiple songs like of him like spilling his heart out, singing, rapping, like, oh, heartbreak, this, that, it hurts. But then he like hopped on and went, yeah, I would never make a hip hop and R&B. That's not where I would go to like create a song that makes people feel things. Huh? So you were just yapping on all your other songs then? You only mean it when you sing it over like a country instrumental? Is that the deal? That shit really it like soured any like it's crazy because I didn't have a lot of Post Malone on my playlist, but hearing that ruined how I perceived the songs that I did have from Post Malone so much, because the songs I did have from Post Malone were like songs about like congratulations, like making it, getting big, and then you had songs like Fall Apart where he's like talking about relationship stuff, and then it's just like, were you even excited? Like, I don't I don't know, man. It felt bad. It was just like, I can't do this shit. And normally I don't do that. I separate the art from the artist, but there was a part of me that was like, part of the enjoyment of this was like knowing that it came from a real place. You know what I'm saying? And it's just ruined. And that's what Adin Ross is. He's Post Malone. Shit.